I'll tell you, speaking of food, the thing that has changed the most for me during this quarantine period is 7-Eleven, Dan.
You don't go to 7-Eleven.
I don't go to 7-Eleven, and that used to be my favorite junk food. I would go and I would get those buffalo chicken rollers, so good, and then some chicken taquitos, and I would just load up on those, and that would be my lunch for the day. You know, and like I haven't done that in over a year. And yet I'm still woefully out of shape. So obviously they weren't worse than what I'm doing now. That's my defense of getting back into it when we open up.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And we are here to talk about movies. We've been doing some theme months. We threw that to the wind, and now we're just going to pick whatever damn movies we want to pick. And this week, Tony, tell us about the movie that you picked.
It's a movie that I have been wanting to do since we started this. It's been on my list the whole time, and I kept putting it off, and then we started doing the theme months, and I was like, well, it doesn't really fit in any of these. So the second you let the reins off, I was like, boom,
freedom.
We're doing Jupiter Ascending, because I love Channing Tatum. I love Sean Bean. I love Mila Kunis. I think I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? Is it Mila? I think I'm right.
Mila.
And I love The Matrix. Although I have come to realize I don't like any of their other movies.
Now, quick question with The Matrix. Mm-hmm. The first one, really interesting movie. Great. A lot of great things about it. At some point, I've probably not seen that movie maybe since it came out. I maybe only saw it when it came out, and maybe part of it later. So I don't know what that movie is now. And then they made two more.
Yeah,
right?
It was a trilogy. Revolution and Reloaded.
And I remember those being weird and kind of moderately interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
So do you ever revisit any of these movies?
I revisited them a few years ago before my wife moved out here, because I had to find things to do at night. Sure. And I actually enjoy... I mean, the third one is a little bonkers. I would like... As bonkers as the second one is, like the third one, it gets like super weird. And then that's the one where like they battle in the ship. I don't know.
But it's a battle in the ship, and they're trying to get from the bad guys are going to try and get into the secret place, Super Zion, to kill everybody.
You remember
or
Zion?
Something.
Yeah, great. You remember all of the things. But I genuinely still enjoy them, and I find like there's a lot of interesting ideas that they pose, which I think is cool. It's not just like an action movie, there's like themes but when you think about Matrix 3 and you think about like that's where they went, they started with the Matrix, which is as convoluted as it is. It's a pretty simple premise filled with a lot of different ideas, right? And then they just like the third one is like, let's just amp up all of everything, more action, more religion, more crazy thoughts. And you have to think about it as a trajectory. And so years later, we get to Jupiter Ascending way up here in fucking Crazy Town.
And for this movie, for all that goes on, nothing really happens.
It's so weird. There's so much exposition, so much story, but the actual plot of the movie is super basic and just the same thing 3 times. Like
it is truly terrifying how it is the same exact sort of conflict resolution every time. Literally, beat 2 and beat 3 are exactly the same. Like so frightfully exactly the same. You almost lose your mind how exactly you're just like, because I had a feeling, because I watched this movie before. I'd watched it before, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I was like, oh, what is this? I may as well sit through this. And I remember kind of liking it. I was like, well, there's some interesting things in here. There's lots of huge problems. When you go to it the second time, you really look at it structurally, you're just like, oh my God, there is no structure here. I mean, there is, but
yeah. It's
no interesting structure.
It blew my mind when we watched him do like the first rescue, right?
Yeah.
He gets shot out of the airlock and then has to, like, you know, he gets rescued very quickly and then makes his return. And then we go to the third rescue and it's like, oh, we missed the space jump. We have to go. And it was just, it's literally, it's not even a heightened situation of the second one, really. It's the same exact scene almost. It's so weird.
It's like breaking, you know, like getting in well, instead of two people, it's one person, and it goes quicker, right? Because we've already seen it.
Because we get
it.
So
you can't make it
the
longer.
The audience gets it.
Well, it's so interesting because I was sitting there thinking about it, and you only have tension when you feel like there is danger, right?
Correct. Yes.
And there's like a part at the end where Mila Kunis's character is like walking, you know, she's there and she's trying to figure out how to get out, and she walks and then these flames go in front of her, and she just sort of goes, oh.
I guess I won't go right there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, if you know where the flames are, you know where the flames are.
Right.
You know, there's no jeopardy involved.
Yeah,
you never felt like she was in
there.
Yeah. It's kind of like when in the Pixels movie when what's her name does like the parkour jump during Donkey Kong.
Ah, yes, great stuff.
You know, if she'd have missed that jump and broken her leg and was like laying there broken on the ground, you'd just been like, "Holy crap, they're in trouble." But no, everyone just executes. You know, it's like when Tatum's flying around and shooting a gun and holding up a shield. There's never a point at which you're like, "Oh, they're going to shoot him in the back now." The shield is always where it needs to be, even though it's so fast you can't see where it be, even though it's all in slow motion too.
He's a wolf.
Okay, let's do this movie. It's
right,
2 hours and 7 minutes, the year 2015. We start with lots of voiceover because it's a movie.
Much.
So her dad is an astrophysicist, applied mathematician, and he's having a baby. They live in the USSR, and then criminals break into his house and steal his telescope, and he tries to protect his telescope, and so they kill him.
Now, Dan, I really, really thought that this was going to tie into the rest of the movie. Like, I kept waiting for the part to come where they're like, well, they weren't really criminals. We sent those people to kill your father.
No.
But instead, it's just like a random event that doesn't really do anything except for now we know that he's dead. And that they loved a telescope or some shit, which is a stupid through line.
$4,000 telescope.
Ay.
So then they just take a boat to the United States. They're illegal immigrants. And she talks about destiny a little bit, and then we see that we have this tricky shot where it's an expensive apartment, and then boom, she's got her head in the toilet.
Yep. I mean, listen, so at this point, because I don't really know what this movie's about. I didn't watch a trailer since, 2015, probably when it came out. I just know that it's something I've wanted to see. So I started to believe that maybe this was like a romantic like an action romance comedy at this point. Because she's talking very Cinderella at this, like, it's very fairy tale Cinderella, like, oh, my life's so hard, but I'm gonna be a princess. It is so, like, the writing is very cheesy, but the acting isn't cheesy. So, like, there's like a disconnect between the words and I don't know. I was almost immediately out on this movie. I couldn't figure out the feeling of the movie. I couldn't do it.
The one thing I found really interesting about the movie is that she talks and jokes very colloquially.
Yeah. Colloquially.
What was your word in your
A double entendre?
Yeah. Who are you asking that you didn't know how to say that word? You look over to the side, not towards him.
Yeah.
You look up to your wife to say.
I do look over to my wife. That is correct. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
It's very funny. Did you want to say that word correctly in your video?
No. That, I mean, it's written that way, but
That's the joke.
The way I was doing it was it doesn't matter. This is a different show. I was doing it to Michael, and I was like, I wonder if it'd be funny if I asked someone off camera, and then I liked it, so I kept it.
So, so she talks very colloquially, makes jokes colloquially, speaks that way. And then, like, when she's talking to these space people who, like, do not live on Earth and who have basically these completely different cultures, they all understand what she's referencing.
Everyone understands everything about everyone. That's what's wild about it.
Yes. And so generally when you want to create these sort of societies, as opposed to just, I mean, I understand they looked good and the costumes were beautiful and the special effects were nice looking.
Absolutely.
And the sets were beautiful. Everything was gorgeous.
The sets were top notch, I thought. That's the best part of the movie.
The Jupiter animation, just your eyes fall out of your head how gorgeous it is. Yeah. And it would have, I mean, it would not have killed them to actually spend some time on that and like live in that a little bit.
Yeah.
Which they never do.
Nope.
Which they never do. But that's the whole thing is so everybody's always making Earth jokes.
Yeah.
And everybody's always getting the Earth jokes. And you're kind of like, sort of, you need to elevate the writing. And I think that's one of the issues is, and when I watched some videos of them talking about this, and they made it similar to the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
Which this is so not a Wizard of Oz type journey.
Well, no, because Wizard of Oz, like she's transported to a possibly fictitious place.
Well, and she has agency there.
Oh, 100%. She's got to follow the Yellow Brick Road and get to the wizard, ask him questions.
And in this movie, as we'll see, she has no agency. She is literally a character that is carried around by her arm at all times, and she falls to her death, at least 5 or 6 times in this movie.
Which is unfortunate and weird to me because I was trying to think of it in terms of like Matrix-y, V for Vendetta-y type things. And the leads in both of those stories like kick ass. Like they're powerful. Like Neo is the one. Technically, Mila's character is like the chosen one. She's the fucking queen, but she doesn't do anything in this movie.
She doesn't put her hand on touchpads. Is her main agency that she takes. There's basically a man there telling her what to do, and her thing is to initially almost do it, and then at the last minute pull her hand back. And I mean, if you really want to like think about it from a feminist standpoint, that's like the most garbage thing ever. Because basically, she sort of, I won't say this, teases these people. You know, I mean, not that this is how they've written this character, which I think is really, really not helpful for the character being a strong, willful character. She's thrown into the stuff and she doesn't really question. Yeah. You know, she's like, she knows she's the queen. She knows she's super rich, but she asks the questions like 10 seconds before she has to make a decision. And then she finally makes the right decision, just barely, sort of. Yeah. Because she knows that a man is coming to save her also. Constantly. In all cases, right?
Yeah, constantly coming to save her. Yeah.
Constantly coming to save her.
Like 4 or 5 times she's a damsel in distress that gets rescued.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And you're like, if you're gonna, Harry Potter, he's the chosen one and he suffers for it, but he has to do some heavy lifting in there.
Yeah. And his friends help. Of course, it's a team effort, but like he does do stuff.
Yes. So then she's cleaning the toilets. Then we have the titles. We have a little bit of the beautiful Jupiter, and it just rolls through the titles so fast.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, on Zalantar,
was The Matrix the first movie to not have intro titles?
I have no idea.
I can't remember if that was it or not. It might have. I don't know.
Was that? The titles were at the end of The Matrix?
Yeah, instead of like having those intro titles. Maybe I'm confusing that with a different movie, but I thought it was The Matrix.
It could have been. Anyhow. That would have sort of set up how that movie sort of kept you off base. Yeah. And that's what they were trying to do in that movie.
What are they trying to do in this movie, out of curiosity, Dan?
I think a lot of these movies, like this movie, is like a bunch of wish fulfillment. It's like we're going to create this world and this thinking that draws on a lot of classic science fiction. We're not going to talk about that classic science fiction stuff. We're going to talk about other things like this is the Odyssey. You know, let's talk about Greek myth, when a lot of the science fiction elements in this are borrowed heavily from a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Which they don't know how to translate those things.
Yeah.
Because the story's just not a good story. It's not a personal story.
Oh, well, it's definitely not that. So you cited the Odyssey here. Is that something that they have said is it, okay? That's interesting. I mean, only in like the smallest way, because in the scene coming up when we talk to these, what are they? Abernathy's?
Abraxas.
Yeah, those guys. I was, for at least 30 minutes of this movie, I was under the impression that they were a civilization of gods. I thought they were like gods and we were humans, and they were, so that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I see what they're pulling from, but it's stupid.
Well, yes, kind of, but you know, the Odyssey is a classic quest.
Oh, for sure.
It's a quest. Yeah. It's where you assemble your team, you get on a boat, you go from A to B to C to D, and then you solve the problem. And along the way, you lose friends, and there is sadness because of that. I mean, did anybody even die in this movie?
Nobody good. Like, none of the good people died. I'm not even totally sure many of the bad people died. I couldn't tell if we were killing people or what. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, as emotionally manipulative as it is killing main characters, that's the watchword of movies. You gotta, you know, I mean, that's back to Jack the Giant Slayer. They just sort of, when they kill characters, they just sort of throw them away. Yep. And you just be like, well, give us a moment, you know.
Let's take that in, guys. No, move on.
I mean, at least Double Dragon understood that killing that girl is you know, these are inflection points.
You know, it's a bad day for cinema when we're using Double Dragon as the standard to look at.
I mean, that's the thing is, the thing about film is these stories are pretty straightforward.
Yes.
You know, you have to, if you're going to put us through the ringer, you got to put us through the ringer, and you got to do the right stuff. I mean, can you subvert that? Of course you can subvert it. But by not doing anything that's like that, you don't subvert it. You're just left with nothing. Yeah. We don't care about anything. Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about this next scene.
We meet the family. Basically, it's a sister and two brothers.
Yep. I'm with you so far.
They sort of own the universe. And
so that's where I get confused. I don't understand. What do you get confused about? What do you mean they own the universe? They were talking, and it's not explained at all right off the top, which is fine. Like, I get it. You just want to be thrown into this world, whatever. But they're just talking about Earth as like a property. Like, you could and I'm like, who are these people? That's why I thought they were gods. I thought that like they created the universe, but it sounds like they just found Earth with dinosaurs and then killed the dinosaurs and started a people farm. Is that what I'm to understand?
That's exactly what they're saying. Yep. So,
but where did they come from? I get so confused.
The idea would be there'd be some sort of proto-Earth, which isn't Earth, but some other place where humankind evolved. I don't know what the numbers were, 100,000 years ago or something. And I mean, all that stuff gets to be super muddy. Yeah. And once again, everything like that is like super muddy. You're like, these three characters have survived this long, you know, that nobody ever tripped. Nobody ever, walked across the street and get hit by a car.
About, I don't remember the word they use, the resurgence, not the resurgence, but when they return, like how do they talk about that? And I'm jumping ahead. I apologize, but they talk about they have a name for when someone important returns.
I think it's resurgence. So basically, basically the bit being, you're going to get the exact same DNA sequence eventually on all these worlds. And so your mom is going to come back at some point because all these things are going to come back together. Which, of course, is absurd. That means you could have 2 of these moms walking around, or 7
right.
of
so like
this. Or, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense that they would even need to worry about her because it's not their mom. It's not like she's reborn like the Phoenix and she is the same cognitive person. Like she doesn't know these things. I don't understand anything.
I mean, that's the whole bit of this movie is that since she is that same genetic sequence, she owns the same stuff that genetic sequence owned before.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. But 2, they've already figured all that out. So who in the past has died and come back? Like
doesn't matter.
From what I can tell, she might be the first. I don't totally understand.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because none of these 3 kids have said, I'm the 17th version of
exactly.
that.
Right.
Like, how do you know that happens?
Exactly.
If it's never who's it happened to before? And these are all the sort of giant concepts that a couple of writers sitting in a room come up with, and then they don't sort of draw them out to some sort of logical, interesting conclusion. What they have is they say to themselves, okay, what we want is we want to have it so that she's basically the reincarnation of the mom, and then everyone sort of treats her like the mom, and then we'll get play out of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, like you say, and we'll get to some more things that this movie does that are very similar to that are these ideas that they just throw in there. And you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How does that all work?
Yeah.
So basically, the sister, 2 brothers, and we learn that they own all the planets in the universe. Maybe there's 100 of these characters that own everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very vague.
Very vague.
Because there's also this thing called the Aegis, which is sort of the government above them, which they're always fooling with and playing games with, even though they sort of have to listen to this Aegis.
Uh-huh.
And so that's all very muddy also.
Yeah, what's the power dynamic? I don't totally understand.
And that's, once again, the only way to sort of put these people in check is to sort of have this other thing that sort of puts them in check, but
not totally.
It takes so much time to explain it to us.
Yeah.
It's like, in Star Trek, it's like, well, you have the Federation. Boom, Federation. It's this thing with laws. They're not magical. They're very straightforward. You break a law in the Federation, you're going to suffer Federation law. But if you're in the Klingon Empire, then you're under Klingon law.
Yeah, makes sense.
Very straightforward. But when there's these ostensibly God people walking around, they get to do whatever they want. They just get to do whatever they want, sort of.
Yeah, and I guess, again, I just have like a lot of questions. I think this is totally legal, what they're doing, right? From what I can tell, it just seems totally legal.
Like what? I mean, it all varies depending on where we are in the situation. I mean, if I send a criminal to the Earth to do criminal stuff, the person who owns the Earth, which is Eddie Redmayne's character, I guess he could just kill our people, I guess, sort of.
I mean, I guess I just find it weird because the Aegis people, they don't seem to be trying to stop the Abraxases from doing the farming.
The farming's no, that's cool.
I'm not totally sure why they end up taking the side of Mila Kunis.
Well, they're more like the neutral. They're the neutral police to everybody.
Right. So why would they care? She's just another human. Really? I don't know, man. I just can't wrap my head around this movie.
Yeah, yes. So they just talk about Earth being the most expensive planet for some reason that we don't really understand. Yep. And it sure seems like there would be a lot of human planets where there'd be a lot of harvesting going on, and it would just be a general planet that's, and this of course harkens back to something like Dune, where Dune is the most valuable planet, but that's because Dune has one special thing, and that this movie didn't want to do that because then it would be sort of Dune adjacent. If you said that the only place that you can get to do this harvesting is Earth, well, then you'd have a lot of contention.
You got yourself another movie right there, already been done.
So
let's talk real quickly about Eddie Redmayne, maybe.
No, we haven't even gotten to him yet.
Oh, we haven't? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we did sort of. Yeah, what about Eddie Redmayne? Did you hate his...
can't even handle it. It was the funniest thing I think I might have ever seen in my life. I mean,
It's pretty funny.
there's just no middle ground whatsoever. He's either whispering unintelligibly or he's screaming. It is hilarious. It's literally worth the 2 hours to watch this movie just to see the scenes with him and just bask in the craziness that's happening. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, when we get to the end and he's screaming about his mom, that whole part, you're just like, what are you talking about? What does this mean?
No idea.
As I was killing her, she begged me to kill her. You're like, what does that even mean?
But yeah,
if she wants to die, why doesn't she just go die? I don't understand.
Or
I'm killing you, but
and if she wants to die, it said that she left her future self in her will. But if that's the case, if she wanted to die, why would she put anything to her future self? She'd be like, if my future self comes back, just knock her out. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Take me out of my own misery before I even know what's going on.
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to enjoy this.
Oh, it's so dumb.
Yeah, and they do lots of things about, infinite time is the only thing that matters. Living forever is the only thing. You're just kind of like, really? That's pretty boring.
Like if you're living for 1 million years, there's got to be something else. Like there's got to be something else to do.
Like cookies, like Girl Scout cookies. Never get tired of them.
Did you order your Girl Scout cookies? It's the season.
Am I eating them? Yes, I'm eating them. They're right in my house here.
Ours have not arrived yet.
You suck.
That's true.
My little Girl Scouts came to my doorstep and left them in a little pile.
Oh,
crept away.
Were you watching them, Dan? How did you know that this is how it happened? I just imagine Dan in the blinds. Who's on my porch?
Okay, so we go back to Mila. She's back to toilets.
Great.
Toilets.
My life is terrible.
So now we get to Mr. Wise, Mr. Wolf Boy, Mr. Channing Tatum.
Wolf Boy?
So he is doing an investigation to try to find her for Brother A, Titus, right? Yeah, that's who he works. He works for the one brother.
Yes, yeah, the pretty brother, quote unquote.
Pretty brother. So he's a hunter, skyjacker, and he's like looking through files for some reason and sniffing around because he's Wolf Boy.
He does a lot of sniffing, but it never really seems to do much.
Well, it helped him here because he knew the bad guys were outside. So he was ready for them.
Guess.
Did he go out? Did he go out a different door as opposed to the door where they are?
Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
No, he just goes right back to where he's like. He knows they're outside the door. What does he do? He goes out the door.
Classic
as opposed
dog,
to turning around,
going to meet the new guest, check them out, sniff some butts. I get it.
Sniff some butts. Get it. So we have the really dark guy. We have the really cool Asian woman on the sky sled.
Yeah.
And we have another dude, and then we have this giant battle where nobody does anything. Everyone misses 100 times, and then he runs away.
Yeah, great scene. Great stuff.
Jesus Christ. Okay, what is this? Meanwhile, at Jupiter, there's a big ship. There's a big SETI. Eddie's back, and he has a rat man. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So then we get this really weird scene where Jupiter's with this woman who's like wearing her lingerie,
just in her underwear for no. There's no reason for this woman to be in her underwear for this scene. It doesn't even make sense. The whole time I'm just thinking to myself, like, why isn't she dressed right now? What's going on? I don't even know what happened in this scene, Dan, because I was so focused on the fact that she's just not dressed for no reason.
And as a man, I mean, it's really like a terrible scene because I'm not a woman, but I'm a man. And so you're just sitting there going like, is she hot? Well, she's kind of hot. She's, you're just like...
You do have that argument too, because she is...
She's kind of hot. Yeah. She's kind of not hot. And you're just like, oh, her lingerie. Oh, it's pretty good looking. It's kind of weird, but what's going on? Why is... Right. And you're like, well,
meanwhile, there's a whole scene happening that you're not listening to.
And then the weird gray aliens come in there and steal her friend and not her because somehow they think she is her.
Yeah, I got
She's
very
Mila, and then-
confused because didn't they said the other person's name when
There's
they
a
were looking?
whole
I don't
weird-
know, man. All I
there's a
remember
whole
from
weird
this
thing-
scene is blonde chick in lingerie for no reason. Aliens come, float the blonde chick, and then like spin her around in the air. And I was like, what is happening? And why is she still naked? And then it was over. And then the whole scene was over. Mia took a picture or something, and then that's it. That's all I know.
So, yeah, it was weird. So then we cut to family dinner. She says, I need to borrow money to buy stuff. And he's like, you always buying money to buy stuff. And it's for the telescope. And then we find out
We
that
also
her
don't ever
cousin-
see her being frivolous with money. Not
No, of
even
course
once
not.
in this movie. If anything, she's the more responsible one of her and her cousin. And I was like, this is a weird scene because we don't know this. None of this
They've
is
said
true
her-
to me.
They've set her up as frivolous, and we all know that she's not frivolous.
Yeah.
Because of her nature. She is not frivolous by
100%.
her nature.
Yeah. It's very strange. But I do love this uncle character. He's
like
great,
the uncle
and I
character?
wish we
Only
could have had
English.
more of him. Because when they come back later, he's also very funny.
I mean, in terms of funny compared to everyone else in this movie, yes, he's more engaging in the funniest role that he's playing.
And, you know, it's a low bar, to be sure, but still, it helped.
So now her cousin has set up to sell her eggs, and so now we're at the clinic where she's selling her eggs.
Why
And-
isn't he selling his semen? Just throwing that out there. Are eggs worth more
Well-
than semen? Does anybody know?
Ostensibly, what has happened is he gave someone a sample, and then they figured out that she's the person who I don't even know. So basically, the bad guys know it's her.
See, okay. And I thought it would make more sense if she did this egg thing and that's how they figured it out. But you're saying that somehow they sent in a pre-sample and that's how they figured it out?
Well, he's looking through files at the beginning, and I assume that's
Yeah,
at that
no, you're
doctor's,
right. You're
I
right.
assume.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
because, $15,000 for eggs seems like a lot of money. I don't know. I did not do my
Sounds like
egg
a ton.
harvesting research.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of money. Seems like if I could do something like that, I'd be doing it every month, because I could,
I don't know if that's how it works, Dan. At some point, they'd get sick of your eggs. They'd be like, okay, we have enough. Nobody's picking them. Please leave.
Your eggs are useless. So the doctor, once again, we're spinning her around, and then Wolf Boy comes in and is like, pew, 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 pew,
Hold
pew,
on.
pew, pew, pew.
Dan, I have a question for you. And now I need you to be honest. And this is a
Honest.
judgment-free zone, everybody. But
Yeah.
because Mila's on the bed, right? And then they strap her, they put her in straps. And I was like, okay, so they're going to hold her down and force something to happen. But then they picked her up and rotated her. Was there ever a moment where you were like, oh my God, they're going to anal probe her? Because that's where my head went immediately. I was like, oh no, this is a probing scene. And then it wasn't, and I got confused. I didn't understand what was happening. Instead, she's just, again, floating for no reason.
Years and years ago, Jeff Galante did like a sketch where he got anal probed on stage at the Groundlings. And it was literally the funniest thing I've ever seen. I was dying.
Was that the Halloween
no.
show?
It must have been one
I think
of
it
the Halloween
was.
shows.
Yeah.
And he's like getting probed, and it's just like, oh my God. No, I did not immediately go to anal probe because I knew because I'd seen this movie before.
That's
and
fair. Yeah.
I knew that this movie wouldn't give us something hilarious like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's what happened, but I was like, oh no, I think it's happening. Because it's aliens. That's what aliens do.
So we'll talk quick about the conceit. Okay, let's talk about Channing Tatum. Okay, first of all, he has like these magnetic boots, which what they basically do is they set up skate ramps in all the things, and then he's
like
on inline skates, and then they paint them out.
Anti-gravity boots, right?
But to do the effect, they set up skate ramps.
So he's really skating though to do these effects. First of all, that's cooler than the effect in the movie. Yeah. I think that's way cooler. I didn't understand the boots, Dan. How do they differentiate between when they're going to like use traction and when they're just gonna skate, because he like did this thing where he kind of wound up and they were like vibrating against, you know, whatever they're affecting, the gravity or whatever, and then immediately he started skating, and then like sometimes he's skating and sometimes he's just gliding and sometimes he's just flying. I don't understand the boots.
Okay.
I hated the boots. They ruined the movie for me.
And they do a lot of booting in this movie.
It's like all boots, man. Boots, boots, boots. Super boots. I hated it.
Fire up the dumb boots.
But I will say I love Channing Tatum, and I thought he did a solid job in the movie.
His acting was fine. Yeah. His ear makeup and his blonde facial hair. How much did you hate that?
Thing so ugly and so stupid. Why do you take Channing Tatum, a specimen built by the gods themselves, and then just horrifically like add prosthetics and ruin his gorgeous face? Why would you do that? At least they have what?
Give him decent hair, you know, do not paint this all blonde. And
you want to give him ears? No. Fine, I don't care about his ears. Keep this just the way that it is. It's so beautiful. It's carved out of ivory, you guys. You don't mess with that.
I'm going to ask you a question, Tony.
Please do.
What color is a wolf?
I think a lot of wolves are like gray or black. I don't see a lot of blonde / orange wolves. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. If anything, he's closer to a fox.
If he was like Foxy Boy, but you wouldn't cast big. I mean, he's a big, chunky guy.
Yeah, a fox would be swift for sure. Yeah, very dumb. Very, very dumb.
So he rescues her, and then we cut back, and what Titus is having sex with a bunch of people in a bubble, which you're like,
are they? Because really all they're doing is just this. They're all just kind of moving their arms fluidly and going, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's it. It wasn't arousing at all.
Sort of a crappy throwback to Barbarella. If you've ever seen Barbarella. If you're 13 years old, go see it right now.
Yep.
Because it will change your life.
It sure did.
Forever.
That was...
And then a girl with mouse ears walks in and tells him something.
And she wants in on the bubble. Like she's got got that thirst look in her eyes. I don't know if I used it right. Shit. I've been trying to use thirsty in the right way because I just recently learned what it meant.
She's thirsty for Titus.
Because Mila Kunis's character in this movie is thirsty. She's thirsty. And it's weird. It's super weird.
And it's kind of weird because she has like this guy who's basically under her command that will do anything for her. Yep. And then she like never commands him to do anything.
Oh, she just talks about like she's in love with this. Like all of her speeches that are about him, she talks about it in third person. So I'm like, he's a wolf. He probably doesn't even understand you're talking about him. He doesn't get it. It's unfortunate.
Okay, so he's taking her to this building where they're hiding out, and then they do this whole, you can't go home, and then I'm going to take you to a spaceship, and then you're going to be super princess. And then they get in the beam to go up there, and then the stupid ships fight, and then we have 5 minutes of super boots versus spaceships.
There's not a chance that was only 5 minutes, Dan. It was 5 minutes long. There's no way. That was at least 15 minutes. There's no way I believe that was 5 minutes. It felt like a whole movie of itself. I was so bored. Also, that's a lot of people that they have to go mind wipe now with the aliens.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the mind wipe.
Okay.
About the mind wipe.
I'm sorry.
Which is, of all of the stupid things in this movie. Okay, first of all, when they flew around the city for like
an hour,
5 minutes, 15 minutes,
5 minutes.
They never at one point cut to a human being going like.
As far as I can tell, there was nobody in the city, and they're blowing up. They're hitting buildings, and where are all the people dying? There's a lot of dead people. There's a lot of collateral damage that we're just kind of brushing under the rug here.
So Yes. So now we're in a car and driving somewhere. I don't even know why they're driving. And he explains to her that they're going to go and clean this off. Someone's going to go in and mind wipe everybody in the city, somehow clear every camera,
all the debris,
every cell phone, all the debris, rebuild it.
In one night, they said. He said, by tonight or by tomorrow morning. One of the two. He's like, it'll all be gone. And I was like, no, there's no way.
What does that even mean? I don't even.
Who's even doing
Who's
it?
doing this? Why? More importantly, why? I mean, okay, so let me ask you this. Farmer Joe has his cows, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm Farmer Joe.
And the cows, like, one of the cows, like, looks in the window. Farmer Joe's having sex with his wife, right?
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't want that cow knowing that. And so he has the farmhand come and wipe the mind of the cow. Why are you wiping the mind of the cow if the cow can't even comprehend what it's seeing, and it doesn't matter for the cow's existence to wipe its mind?
Because the meat is going to taste weird if he's all conflicted. Okay, trust me.
If we know that there are aliens out there, we're not going to be the harvest we need to be.
That's right.
It's just like, I don't understand. Who cares?
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay.
And if that many people are coming to fix the place, aren't they just going to be able to find them like very quickly? It sounds like there's a large search party available to these people.
I don't know
either.
Eddie has a scene where he says, "No one understands me." Whatever.
Sure. I don't.
Now we go.
In his defense, he's right. I don't understand him.
So now we go to Sean Bean's hideout, which is a house made of bees.
I mean, essentially, yes.
The weirdest thing ever.
Also, do you think these bees are real at all? Because that's very scary.
What do you mean, are they real at all?
Because there's a lot of them like brushing them away, and I kept trying to like see if it looked like they were literally trying to brush something away, or if one of the directions of the movie was just like, okay, now just wave your arms like there's bees around you.
Oh, so you're saying, are they CGI bees? They're CGI bees.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Either way,
you can't...
Dan, do you wave at bees to push them away from you?
No, you freak out.
Yeah, you run. It's a fucking bee, and there's hundreds of them. I'm staying in the car.
There's not hundreds.
Thousands of bees. I'm not even getting out of the car at this point, but they are so casual about all these bees. Like they just kind of walk through them. They're circling like flies, and I was like, guys, full panic mode right now. You guys got to get the fuck out of here.
There's no human being on the planet that would react that way to bees.
Wild.
So Sean Bean is like his old boss, and something happened, which we don't really. They talk about it 27 times, and
it still makes no sense.
I couldn't tell you. He punched a rich person.
Well, he ate. I thought he ate a rich person or bit him. I thought he bit him, not ate him. I guess, but he bit him.
He ate him. Smorgasbord, one rich person in, dog poop out. So they're fighting, and then Sean Bean has a very cute daughter there who like has something to do with something, and then we never see her. I guess she's sick.
Yeah, apparently that's the motivation. Yeah, is that she's sick, so he betrays the people. I don't know, man. It's pretty thin.
We never see her again. We never deal with this sickness. Nothing ever happens.
But you do hear her cough one time. So they set up the sickness. She goes, and then leaves the room. And I was like, what the fuck?
Because you know they're setting up her sickness thing.
Yeah, and it's stupid.
It's this bad movie shorthand. And then Mila takes control of all the bees, and she's queen of bees. One of the few things in this movie I liked.
Oh, you did like that?
I loved it. I thought it was really because it actually gave her some agency. She controlled the bees.
I'm cool with that. What the part that I'm a little shaky on is then Sean Bean's explanation of why that this matters. He's like, beans instinctively recognize royalty. Like, what? What does that even mean, dude?
That's dumb. Yeah. Yeah,
and what kind of royalty? Like any royalty? So if like the Queen of England just like came over, would the bees listen to her?
Well, more importantly, I'm going to be rude right now, but if I'm Mila and I have sex with what's his name, with Wolf Boy,
The wolf,
Mr. Wise, right?
Fox
he becomes, and then we get married. He becomes like not a prince. Yeah, he becomes a prince.
Well, he's
like Prince Andrew or
because
whatever.
is she's a princess or is she queen? If she's queen and they get
queen.
married, she's the king,
Her
right?
Majesty. Nah, he's not the king.
But if a king gets married, that's the queen. Man, these power dynamics are fucked up for women.
Yeah, but so he becomes royalty by the act of them putting a ring on it.
So then is it like a weird, weird, powerful STD where he then catches the power of the bees? This is a movie I want to see.
The two of them having sex so that we find out about bees. Yes.
For the bees. The bees.
Now, here's a question. So she gets a call on her cell phone, right?
Yep.
While she's in the house.
Yep.
And that's always like, you always know something bad is going to happen when a call happens, right? It's like
100%.
the weirdest thing. She should be, I got to take this call, and then they should be slapping the phone out of her hand because that's going to lead to like tracking,
no,
right?
You are in hiding. Do not answer your GPS tracked cell phone. That's what you should say.
But that's not what it is. And you're kind of like, why are we even doing a phone call? What are we getting out of a stupid phone call?
Literally
in
not.
the midst of all this other stuff. And then she's a reoccurrence. Yes, so we find that out.
Reoccurrence. Got it.
We need a plan, and then we have the big battle at the house.
Yep. Another big battle.
Big battle.
Throwing his shield around a bunch. Flip. But I will say, the good part about this entire scene is that he's shirtless. So kudos to that.
Why is he shirtless?
I don't know, but I'm enjoying it, Dan. If he could have done the whole movie shirtless, I think this would have been a better film. I'm just going to say that.
So she gets grabbed, and they take her off into deep space to go see her sister.
Yeah.
Then we have another scene where we learn that you bathe in the water of thousands dead, and then you get young. Mom was murdered. Rejuvenation. Time's the most precious resource. She's the richest girl in the universe. Boom.
And then we get to hear all that 3 more times.
3 more times.
It's basically the same speech.
Meanwhile, Eddie's torturing someone who didn't do right
the job.
Catching her.
I don't know.
And it's so funny. Back in the original Star Wars, the princess is in the cell, and the evil robot comes in with. Now the thing has 10 million scalpels on it and 1,000 injectors. You're just like, it's not scarier the more injectors you put on it.
No, it's funny.
If it's stupider, yeah. If you put like one really pokey needle. Yeah. And you were to have that needle come in right at somebody's eyeball, we would be squirming like you wouldn't believe. But
do you remember that from T2?
Was it?
Remember Terminator 2? Judgment Day? When he does the finger? T-1000 does the finger and like slowly goes towards her eye. It's one of the scariest scenes in a movie I've ever seen in my life. Hands down.
I wasn't even referencing that, and I just wrote a line. And of course, that's what's scary. And, I always say back... What was that stupid movie that you had to be quiet or the alien, the monsters would get you?
Yeah. Silent.
Quiet Place.
Quiet Place, thank you.
When she stepped on that nail, I was murdered. Dude. It was like me being murdered.
It's horrifying.
I would not watch that scene again for $1,000.
I just watched it last Halloween, I'll tell you that right now. And it's still intense. That scene is just like...
And that's called suspense.
Yeah.
And stupid torture machine does nothing. It spends a designer's time, and you make a thing, and you think you're being clever, but you're not. Clever. You're not.
Yeah.
What?
You think you're being clever. Story of my life.
So now we get back. She's on the ship. I'm just a normal girl. Oh, Wolf Boy's there now. Somehow he's.
Who knows?
There. I'm just a normal girl, and she's just like.
I know. She throws herself at him in this movie several times.
What is she, Tony?
Verbally, she is thirsty. She's thirsty for that Tatum. I don't. Can you say for? Like, is someone thirsty for something, or are they just thirsty? I don't know. I'll have to Google it later.
And he does a whole thing. You're royalty. I'm a dog. Whatever.
He does.
So now we get to soup.
He does say that about himself. Something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Wolf boy. I can't be
a wolf boy. Wolf boy.
And I'm sorry if I'm like, the most powerful majesty in the world, and I want some wolf. I'm having some wolf.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the perks of being in power. That's a bad thing to say, I think, in 2021. But
I mean, that's the thing is, these are the hyper-rich, degenerate people, and they're going to do hyper-rich, degenerate things.
Look at Titus. He had a bubble of women. I don't know what they were doing, but he had a whole bubble.
And one was a mouse, and she was thirsty for his cheese. She was
thirsty for that bubble. It's cheese. Did you say cheese?
So now we get to Super World. It's this big world and thing. And then we have this whole comedic paperwork scene.
Oh, God. Is it comedic?
Yes, it is. Is it funny?
You did like
no.
It?
Is it comedic?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because it's played for laughs. Does it get laughs?
No, not in this house.
So we go through this to the, and once again, this is her whole thing. This whole universe is all about paperwork for whatever reason. And eventually they get down to this grizzled character, and they do a bribe, and they get to the grizzled character, and he goes to the magic chinky machine and chink, 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 and then gives her thing. And so through all of this stuff,
and like a magic tattoo, right?
Magic tattoo.
Yep.
I was like, man, this is it's like a Terry Gilliam movie, like Brazil. I'm like, wow, the design is very Terry Gilliam, and you got this weird old guy. And then, do you know who Terry Gilliam is?
I do, but I don't know what movie you're referencing. Give me a couple examples. Give me a different one, because I don't know that movie.
What else did Terry get? Well, he was in Monty Python, of course.
Well, of course.
He did, what other movies did he do? He did The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen. He just did a Hansel and Gretel kind of movie.
Yeah, is there something a little more recent, Dan? Jeez,
I don't
Louise.
remember all the movies he's done.
12 Monkeys. He did 12 Monkeys.
He did 12 Monkeys. And so I was like, man, this is all so Terry Gilliam-esque. Like, that's kind of weird. So I was watching one of the bonus things about this thing. The old man with the machine, that was Terry Gilliam.
Oh, that's a fun... No one knew that. I mean, some people probably did.
And I literally thought
that's
to myself,
hilarious.
It would be funny in the midst of this if Terry Gilliam was there.
Did like
and
a
it
cameo.
was Terry Gilliam, but he was in all this makeup and he was doing a voice, so you couldn't tell it was Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, that's so weird. Just let it be him, so then people can be like, oh, okay, cool. We're doing a full nod. That's hilarious.
So then she tries to kiss him again, and it doesn't happen.
Yep.
So now how does she end up on Titus's ship? Does he steal her again or something?
I thought that they just kind of went. Didn't they just kind of go?
Maybe Titus says, if you don't come here, I'll do something. I don't remember. It's really stupid.
Because Titus is the one that's trying to charm her.
Yeah, so she goes to Titus's ship.
Yeah, I don't remember how she gets there.
Maybe because Wolf Boy has to go back there because he's working.
Well, he's reporting to him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So they go to Titus's ship, and then they throw Wolf Boy in prison.
Yep.
With his magic boots. They don't take his magic boots off.
Terrible call. Just bad job, guys. He's got one weapon thing. The shield and the boots. I guess he's got two weapon things. Take them both.
Which I think they leave him with everything. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still has a shield because he uses it in a little bit.
Someone's got to explain to me how going to jail, they leave you with your weapons.
You take someone prisoner, but you can keep the revolver and you can keep the dagger, but you're still going to jail. Stupid.
Could be jail. So dumb. So then now she's in a sexy dress. They have the big dinner face-off. He says, you're in love with Wolf Boy. He shows her the Regeneron. And she explains to her that it's made from peoples. And then he's like, will you marry me? And then she says, yes.
Essentially, Yeah, she doesn't say yes right away, but she does eventually. She's like, okay, let's do it. And he gives her that whole thing where it's like, my mother didn't like this, and I'm taking up the plight of not liking it. And so marry me so we can combine forces or something. I don't know.
This doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a good threat as to why she has to marry. Like, say you're in love with Wolf Boy, I'm going to kill Wolf Boy because I own him.
Sure.
Or marry me. And then she's like, well, I love Wolf Boy. I guess I'll have to marry you.
I guess I'll still do it, because why not? What do I have to lose? He can be my side piece.
So they eject him into outer space.
Yep.
And while he's being ejected out of space, he kicks a panel and it shoots a spacesuit out with him.
Spacesuit out with him. One, nobody saw that? Like, these people that just threw him into this little shoot, like, nobody saw him do that? Are you kidding me? They just, like, push the button and walk away. They're like, well, there's no way he's getting out of this one. Stupid. I mean, it is the same people that left him his weapons, I guess. So there's that.
So he's got his weapons and whatever.
And a spacesuit. So he's basically fine.
Now I got a spacesuit. So the lizard men go to Earth and steal her whole family. Okay.
Probably a good move.
Yeah. He's dying in space and he's dreaming of Jupiter.
So that kind of annoyed me, because usually this is the point where someone's life flashes before their eyes, but instead of that, he's only looking back on the last 9 hours. That's his whole thing. It's just, my life didn't begin since I met Jupiter. Stupid.
When I die, the whole series of King of the Hill is going to run through my head.
God dang it, Bobby. That's terrible. Fuck.
So she says yes, and immediately there's a big wedding on the ship. Everybody's ready. They've made a dress instantaneously. Beautiful dress.
It looks great.
She's floating. Oh, she looks great in this movie.
Not Channing though. Such a betrayal.
Terrible. Except his nipples, right?
Well, yeah, when he's topless, great. A+. Just want to have to look at his stupid face.
So she's there getting thing, and he has to go through. Him and Sean Bean get in the mech suits, and they're like, and this is the effort it takes to do things.
These weird. It's like I don't know, hand things. It's terrible. It's so dumb. The tech in this movie is not great.
Looks great.
It looks great, but the ideas are stupid to me.
It's stupid. So basically, they break through. He goes there, saves her, and then he's pointing a gun at Titus, and she's like, "May I kill him?" And she says, "Just get me out of here."
Yeah. Instead of getting rid of one of your threats, it's just like, no, let's just leave, and he can come back later if he wants. Let him think about what he's done. I think we got through to him. I feel good about it.
I think he's going to change his ways. He said he was going to change his ways about the Regeneron. And more importantly, they can just kill him?
Apparently, it was on the table. It doesn't seem like no one was like, you can't do that. It was instead just like, let's just go. Let's just go. Ridiculous.
I wrote, at home with Rat Boy, whatever. This is my family. So then she gets on Eddie Redmayne's spaceship because he has her family. The kidnap the family, I'm going to kill your family unless you do exactly what I say, is one of the plot devices I might hate the most in the world.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it doesn't give the character any real agency.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you can just say no and they're going to kill your family, and then somehow that's going to not happen, through a bunch of circumstance.
Sure.
Or you're going to just do what they say. It's just
terrible. What I don't understand is because Eddie Redmayne is when she's like, nah, let's not do this. He's like, you're in no position to negotiate. And I was like, that's wrong. She is in a position to negotiate, because if you kill her family, you're definitely not going to get Earth. She's not going to then just hand it to you, because that's stupid. So really, you're not in a power position, because you can do one of two things. She can like maybe she falls for your bluff, but if she doesn't and she calls you on it, you can't then kill her family because then you're never going to get Earth. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Stupid. You got to kill them one at a time, if anything. Start with the youngest.
Start with the babies.
That's right. That's the most emotional. Anywho.
So the bad guys, Eddie goes through like a secret magic gate and they close it so the Aegis can't get through, and the Aegis you think are going to crash, but they don't crash, and Elephant Man's like...
That was really good.
He doesn't talk. He just does that twice in this movie. It's really, really stupid. So then it's Mila versus Eddie Redmayne, and she's like, "Where's my family?" And he makes a toilet cleaning joke, right? Is it? I think it's him that makes the toilet cleaning joke.
Yeah, he definitely does.
You're going to go back to cleaning your toilets.
He knows that she cleans toilets?
Well, it sounds like he's been watching her for a while, you know?
But he hasn't, because he didn't know where she was. Like, the time, they like, didn't, you know, if he knew, if she was watching her, he wouldn't have stolen a stupid naked blonde woman.
That is correct.
And then he goes into this whole pyramid of commodity. It's goddamn George Lucas Senate bullshit. Like
no, because the Senate bullshit is interesting. This is not interesting at all.
The Senate bullshit is not interesting. Okay. So we're back on the Aegis ship. They're outside of Jupiter because they knew where they were going or something. Who knows? And this is what we address once again, that Wolf Boy's problem is he doesn't have a pack. And
yeah. Oh, we missed the last when Sean Bean was giving that speech. That's one of the worst directed speeches I've ever seen. I'm fine with the speech, but this the cuts to him like looking at the gun and just kind of like playing with the gun, they don't make him menacing at all. It's just stupid. So then we come back to this bullshit.
So basically, it's get down there, Wolf Boy, and get what do your dogged thing.
Go do your thing, Dougie.
Sniff that.
Sick 'em, boy. That's what they should have said.
So I'll do what you want. I beg, and he's like, just use this touchpad, and then he's in the mecha suit, which once again, it sure seems like if you have, I mean, we can't even quantify how expensive this Jupiter thing is.
Correct.
And he can get through that with like one stupid mech suit?
Yeah, no problem.
That's like the dumbest thing ever. It's like your defenses can't stop a single mech suit. I mean, at least at the other guy, it took 2 mech suits to get through his giant hammers.
It did take 2. That's right.
So I have like $20 billion worth of protection. Well, not even 20 gazillion dollars worth of protection. And it's just like one mech suit. Boom, done.
Be like, shoot the one thing we didn't plan for.
Somebody attacking. Yeah, we didn't plan for someone actually attacking. We assumed it would be a passive attack. They come very slowly.
Stand at a distance and throw threats.
Is that from something?
No.
That's funny.
No. It should be.
You're an asshole. Aha! The hammer shall defeat you then. And then we have one of the few things in my that I liked about this movie is she basically says no to him, and I was really hoping she was going to say Earth is my family.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been really nice for her to understand that the genetic material that's down there, which is like 7 people, it would have been the ultimate. I mean, she kind of does this, which is you don't save Spock, you save the goddamn planet.
That's true. That's true. That is your whole thing. And I'm like, girl, you just sentenced your family to death. You're a bad girl.
Tony would have been like, save my family, fuck you.
I'd have been like, I'm the person down below. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? You just gonna let us die down here?
That's why Tony feels with the uncle or whatever.
That's right. He's my dude. He's my dude.
Okay, so then he comes in there. We actually get a big kiss at this point.
Is Is this the part where she wants to bite him? Did we miss that one when they're flirting?
She wants to bite him?
There's one of the flirting scenes. I think I wrote it down somewhere. She's like, "Oh, I'm royalty now." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, does any part of you want to bite me?" And he
must have been one of the earlier ones.
That might have been one of the earlier ones. And he's like, "No, well, maybe." And I was like, "Bullshit, Channing. You want to eat her up, man. You want to gobble. I just chew her to pieces." It was such a weird scene to me. I didn't like it.
So basically then we have this protracted scene where he fights the Dragon Man and she runs around and they sort of fight. And at one point she's beating Eddie with a big piece of metal, metal rod, and she beats on him, and then she takes the metal rod and throws it away.
That's correct. Yes. She probably got tired. It's a heavy thing to swing around. Let's just take a step back and chill out.
You have a weapon and you throw it away.
Weapons are for cheaters, Dan.
So at some point, Eddie does the whole thing where he's all like, "My mother wanted me to kill her. It is good." And she's like, "I'm not your mother."
Chill out, dude. Yeah.
And then they fall down a thing, and Channing saves them, and then she falls again, and Channing saves her. Everybody always ends up in 2 feet apart, or Channing finds out where she is 6 miles away.
But he's got magic boots, so don't worry about that.
If Tony was falling, I would know where to fly my magic boots.
Your boots would just kind of fly around in a circle and be like, "Well, he's probably gone by now. I think we missed him."
And then they escape, and that's they escape.
Yep. Yeah, they escape. And then
Then we go back to Earth. Everything on Earth back to normal. She is back to cleaning toilets.
Yeah. So I don't understand.
What don't you understand?
Well, one, what the movie's about then, because now she owns a planet, but she's such a down to earth gal that even though she owns a fucking planet, she's just going to clean one person's toilet.
Hold on, she doesn't own a planet. She owns tons of planets.
Oh, Earth isn't the only one she owns. That's a good point.
No,
she's the queen.
No. She's queen. The other people, Titus, owned 3 or 4 planets.
You're right. Yep.
She owns Earth plus probably another 50 planets. She has infinite money.
You're doing a bad job of running your planets then, because if you're only on one of them, you're ignoring a bunch of other ones.
So she's back to cleaning toilets.
Yeah, this movie's dumb.
and it's the whole and then so she's cleaning toilets. Let's finish the movie, and then we'll talk about the cleaning toilets. And then she's on the rooftop wearing sexy space clothes.
Yeah, she's got her own boots. Or are they
she's got
boots?
Magic boots.
Because he's got boots too. There's 2 pairs of magic boots now, right?
Well, he's got wings. He's got the wings now.
That's right. He grew wings.
He got his wings back.
That's right.
Because that was the whole thing. They took away his wings, and that's
I remember that now.
Boots. And so now
blocked it out.
And now he has wings, and she has magic boots, and she knows how to use these magic boots perfectly.
Yeah, very well. She's fine. Well, she saw him do it a bunch, so she learned vicariously through him.
Now, so I will go back to what the Wachowski said about this. They said it's like Wizard of Oz. So, the point at which you realize, home is where the heart is, and it's home. But being on Earth is very different than cleaning the toilets of Earth.
And not only that, but now you're super wealthy, right? So maybe buy your family a home, buy your mom a nice, a small 2-bedroom house that she can just live in and not work to the bone every day. You know what I mean?
Every NBA player, when they get that first paycheck,
exactly,
they buy their moms a home. And she is very comparable to an NBA player, right? She has worked very hard and in a crap job, and then she has made the big pay. The big payoff has come.
That's right.
And she benefits those people that got her through it, which is her mom and the rest of those people. She buys them a home. They live in a mansion. They have servants. They are living nice. They're living large, and then she can do her sky skate on her giant estate that she has bought in
Fun stuff
on Long Island.
But instead of that,
cleaning toilets.
Instead of that, she's letting her family live a pretty, below average existence, and just pretending she doesn't have any money, and then just flying around Chicago without mind erasers. Like, who's erasing their memories now? Or does now everyone know that there's 2 flying people in town?
So this kind of goes to the whole thing of the Wachowskis. They work with the same crew of people. Same designers,
Sure.
Same producers, all this group of incredibly talented people. And I think you get to a certain point where there's no editing process. There's no one that's going to stay there and say, she can't go back to cleaning toilets. I get that script in the mail, and I'm just like,
no.
Okay, my red pen comes out, and I just like cross that right out, and I send it back to them, and I'm like, you can't do that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that because it's bullshit.
Yes,
period.
it is. Yeah.
And if your exclamation point at the end of a movie is like something that makes us go, "What are you talking?" If you want to make this about her love of Earth, make her go to the Grand Canyon and go like this. This is what we were saving.
This is what we were fighting for. Sure.
This is what, but sticking your head in the toilet, that is not what she was fighting for.
Correct.
Period.
That is correct.
And she didn't really ever fight. She took her weapon and threw it away. And was
she realized
worthless.
She fought for 1 second and was like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm a woman. I can't do this. I believe that's the thought process of the character.
If she had conjured up a bunch of bees at the end, that would have been cool.
Why didn't the bee thing come? I did not like the bee thing, Dan.
Well, you didn't like it because it was a throwaway thing. It was like this thing.
A lot of things in this movie are just thrown away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole thing is they said that, you're sitting in your writer's room and you're like, oh, she's royalty, so bees worship her. Oh, then we'll have a scene where bees worship her. Yeah. And that will prove that she's the entitled one.
Also, the daughter being sick, they bring that back when Sean Bean is in the brig and Channing Tatum shows up and he's like, hey, why'd you do it? And he's like, wow, my daughter's sick. And then Channing Tatum's like, well, do you have any other problems that I should know about? Money problems? And I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, what?
It's a really weird line.
Stupid.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't love it.
Any other thoughts about this movie?
There's some fun ideas in here that if they were, fleshed out a little bit, I think could have been a fun movie, but it wasn't. It was not enjoyable for me.
And that was the whole thing, is they were trying to write this grand space opera and sort of introduce this world and these characters. Yeah. And your problem was you built 3 villains, essentially.
Yeah.
And all of them were confused, and and then you didn't really let the good guys have any agency.
Yeah.
They just did the same 3 fights or 4 fight or 5. There were 5 huge set piece fights in this movie.
Yeah, that's true, and they were all way too long.
They were all very long.
So I guess final thought: skip it. Just skip it. You don't need to see it. I was wrong.
Thumbs down.
I was wrong. All right, I'll take that one.
It's a movie worth watching for what it does, but it's it just doesn't give you what you would want from. Yeah. Once again, this could have gone in your franchise fails. This movie wanted to speak of franchise, and speak of creating this space opera world. And you know what the problem was they didn't set it up like that. Yeah. There was nothing in this movie that I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, we got to revisit that.
Yeah, we start with just the one brother. We really just deal with the one brother, and then we know that there's this other sister and this other brother, and we're like, holy moly, things are going to get real when the nasty brother gets to town.
Yeah, this was the nice brother. Yeah.
But we kind of dispense with everyone by sort of walking away from it.
Yeah. Shake hands, walk away. Good job, guys.
Does Eddie Redmayne's character even die? Do we know that he dies?
I honestly don't even remember what happens to him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. now's the point of the show where we talk about something we like, and I'm going to talk about a new show on Netflix called City of Ghosts.
We're both talking about new Netflix shows, but different shows. So you go first. Continue.
It's kind of a kid's show, but it's just as much for adults. It's animated, sort of 3D animated, and it's about these ghosts that sort of live in different neighborhoods in LA. And so each one is kind of each one's about an area of LA, and we sort of delve into the history, and we delve into real people, and it's beautiful and just a phenomenal show that sort of breaks down storytelling completely and approaches storytelling in a different way, which is just so, if you're going to do something different, you want to think about how people do something different, this is the show to watch. It's done by Elizabeth Ito, who's someone I've known from Comic-Con years and years ago.
Very nice.
I've always known she's incredibly creative, and so it's really nice to see her get her own show, and it's just fantastic.
Cool. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, you should watch it. Everybody should watch it.
Yeah. Speaking of Netflix, Dan.
Netflix.
That's a great way to say it. Netflix, yes. Because we fell into the Bridgerton trap this week.
Bridgerton. Holy moly.
I'm in, dude.
Talk about some sexy butts.
I'm in 100%. We're having a great time. I mean, is it a great show? No. But is it entertaining as hell? Yeah, it is.
It hits all, it knows exactly who it is. It knows what it wants to do.
And they own that shit.
Beautiful people doing beautiful things in beautiful costumes. And
super
Shannon
fun.
watched the whole thing. I just sort of secondarily watched a fair amount of it. Not a fair amount, maybe a show or two. And I loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the thing about it is it's not pandering at all. It's just like, I know what I am.
100%. Yeah. No, we love it. Then, of course, I'd be remiss not to just shout out the WandaVision finale, which aired yesterday.
Thank you.
Fuck, dude. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
I looked at what they have coming on Disney Plus, and I'm never going to be able to get rid of Disney Plus because I think they're doing 6 series this year or something. It's crazy.
It's nuts, dude.
It's like, what do we have? We have just a couple of weeks until
2. I don't think it's next Friday. I think it's the following Friday, the 19th, and then we're back into it.
And you cannot even begin to comprehend, like, if that show is the show it could be, considering WandaVision was the show it could be. Yeah. It's going to be, I don't know, better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Loki, International Man of Mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, ostensibly the best actor, the most charismatic of the entire universe has its own show.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. And this is coming from a guy who, when he saw Endgame, was like, all right, this is the last piece of Marvel MCU that I'll ever watch. I was done. I was out.
You were done.
Tony Stark is the heart and soul of the MCU to me. It's his story. It is his story from top to bottom. And when his story completed, I was like, cool, I'm out. That was great. Thanks for the ride. I'm done. But then I'm a sucker.
Now it's one.
Yeah. And now WandaVision, I was like, okay, I'm back in. I'm ready to go wherever you want to take me.
If you go on, they made on Disney Plus, they have a little 7-minute thing of kind of all of Wanda's scenes from all the movies.
Oh, okay.
And you just watch that and you're just like, she's incredible. I mean, she's incredible. And the thing I'm stunned at is how accepting the Marvel viewer has been for it.
Sure.
I mean, it's weird.
Yeah. And it's definitely, it's a departure. You know what I mean? Like it's not, the last episode kind of goes full Marvel, but before that, it's something you have not seen and maybe ever. I don't know. It's great stuff.
It's a lot of build up to propel things to this next stage. And I mean, once again, these characters are flawed.
Yeah. Oh, are they?
In a good way.
Yeah. Big time. It's great. Great stuff.
So we get we get to watch another movie for next week.
Yes, we do. What is it?
So,
Lay it on me.
We're going to do the longest movie we've ever done on Hate Watching.
Oh, no, Dan. Why? Why would we do that?
Because we love the Wachowskis.
Are we doing another? What's happening right now? Is this Cloud Atlas?
We're doing Cloud Atlas.
Shit.
all 2 hours and 52 minutes of it.
Oh, God.
It is going to be the hell grind of all hell grinds.
I'm going to have to break this one up over a couple of days. I can't sit and do a 3-hour movie.
Maybe we should just watch the first half of Cloud Atlas and then talk about it next week and then watch the second.
Do a part 2. Oh, God.
2 hours and 52 minutes. I believe it's 5 or 6 different timelines.
Oh, my God.
Intertwined.
I'll be honest with you. I never had 1 ounce of desire to see this film. not even a little bit. I
turned it on at one point and watched like 10 minutes, maybe in the middle of it, because I'm crazy.
Yeah,
it was so bad. So bad.
Dan, I got to tell you, I'm a little shocked and a little disappointed that we're not doing Chaos Walking this week.
Is it available? I just watched the trailer again last night.
I guess I don't know. I thought it came out this week, but I could be wrong. It could be coming out next week. We'll see.
Well, as soon as Chaos Walking is out,
we'll definitely
be watching it. Yeah, if I thought it was out, I would have definitely thought about it. But I think it's going to be free on Disney Plus.
Oh, really? Okay.
I believe so.
Great.
I believe that's what they're going to do, is just give it to us free on Disney Plus to make everyone not hate Disney.
Is that what it's going to do? Because I'm not so sure it's going to work.
I think the idea is if you put that in theaters and got the anger of people who put their butts in seats to see it.
Sure.
And that's why they kept delaying it, is because it is ostensibly going to be so bad.
It's not going to be good. I'll tell you that. But I'm ready for it. Okay. But we're watching Cloud Atlas, 18 hours long. Let's do this thing.
And this is the Wachowskis movie right before Jupiter Ascending.
Sure.
And if Tony was a real mensch, he might think about us doing Speed Racer next week.
Racer! Oh, I actually forgot that that's them as well.
That's them as well.
Why do we still let them make movies? I'm a little confused.
Don't know. I don't know what they're working on right now.
Well, didn't they shoot Matrix 4?
Oh, they are doing Matrix. They might have already shot it, I think,
yeah,
right?
I don't know. All of these movies make me very worried for Matrix 4.
Oh, we're doing Matrix 4 day one. We might have to both go to the movie theater.
Done. Worth it.
Scribbling notes like that. So this has been Hate Watching once again. Yes, this next show, we're gonna have to make the next episode maybe 3 hours long itself.
Oh, for sure. You got to match the runtime of the movie. That's a given.
It's gonna be like, why? Why did I do this? Why? So this has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. If you like what you see, tell your friends. If you have friends, you're lucky, because we don't have friends.
Hey, we are each other's friends, and we're not very nice to each other.
Not if we can help it. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch it!